Hey everybody, welcome to Smashing Game Time. I'm your host, Nick. I am here with two special guests today from Team Ugly. They have, their game is called Ugly, and that came out back in September. I have Gerard Singuerlin and Frank Porta with me. Gerard is the game design, art, animation lead on Ugly. Frank is the programming lead on Ugly. And real quick, before I give you guys the floor, I wanted to congratulate you on your Saga Awards awarded last week. It'll be 2 by the time this recording comes out. Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong. You guys won for visual art direction, gameplay, and best game.
Correct.
Yes.
Hi, Nicholas. Nice to meet you.
Hi guys.
I'm Frank, and thank you for the congrats. I don't know.
Yeah, congrats on those. And could you? I kind of got an idea of it. It's a Catalan Awards, but could you guys kind of explain it? Because in my research, I couldn't find too much on the Saga Awards, but it sounds like it's a thing that's growing right now.
There are some awards for the games in the Catalan language. There is not so many. There is not so many games on Catalan. So yes, Ugly was the best game according to the Saga criteria. That was the best game in Catalan of this year.
Awesome. And I actually saw, Frank, I think you did a post on LinkedIn, and you actually shouted out a few of the other Catalan nominees out there. So I thought that was great. I actually wrote a few of those down just based off the title alone. I think I'm going to go give those a look. But we're not here to talk about the competitors. We're here to talk about you guys. So Ugly, the first time I saw Ugly was, I think it was a Steam Next Fest. You guys had a demo. I want to say that was this July, or it might have been June. There's so many Steam Next Fest. They all kind of run together now. Where did the idea for Ugly come up from?
This I don't know. It came up like 10 years ago or more now. I'm so old, and just appears. My background is I'm a drawer and animator, and I was starting to work in some video game projects, and then I started to like see how this gaming industry works, and I was a video game passionate, so soon I start to imagine my games, and one of these ideas was Ugly, and it's an idea that I put on my desk, and I can recover some years later, and yes, but just appears like suddenly, no reason.
So I remember the first time I saw the game. First thing I instantly thought was like, "Oh, this looks like Braid. This is giving me Braid vibes," and I'm sure that's something that you guys have heard a lot. Was that something that you were, kind of like leaning on, or was that something you were trying to lean away from because you didn't want too much of a comparison?
I think it. Sorry, I think it came to be somehow, because just telling the idea is 10 years long, and he's being modest about it. But if you see the first sketches and the first, the drawings that he has in his notebook, I mean, it feels like a different game. The character is even a tall person. It's not even looking the same as it is now. And I guess it came to be with an artistic style similar to Raid. I don't know if the art direction took some inspirations from it or not, but yeah, I don't know.
Yes, Braid was one of those games that like was so important when I was younger, and I think it's obvious that it's similar to Braid. I think I can like say no at this because it is, but I think it's enough different. But yes, the inspiration is there, and it's a very mechanical based game, and there are very a lot of similarities with this game. So, and it's such a honor that people compare it to Braid. So, yes.
And I want to commend you guys on the plot of the game and also the mirror mechanic, like flowing so well together. I reviewed the game for Game Chronicles back in October, and that's something that really stuck with me. Was you start out the game, you're an ugly little guy, you've got the mirror ability where you can swap sides with your reflection. Was that mechanic like always something that was there, or did you kind of have was it out of the gate, you have an ugly character and you found that mechanic along the way. What, chicken or the egg, what came first out of that?
First was the mechanical this mechanic. I thought that was like interesting to explore it, and then when I tried to like find a excuse to use this mechanic, a narrative excuse, I thought that could be so cool that if the character needs to use the mirror to like solve the problems, but at the same time like fighting against the thing that is finding on the other side of the mirror. So being ugly, or I don't know, ugly is a very relative concept, but being a like what people used to say that something is ugly could be very interesting and something cool to explore, not only in a mechanical way, if not, but as well in the narrative way.
So I know we've already mentioned Braid, but were there any other like major influences, either another game or another piece of media, maybe a book, where it was something you really liked and something that actually found its way into Ugly?
Yes, Portal in the game field, it was one of the inspirations as well. Um, and in other fields, for example, Over the Garden Wall was like something that I like a lot, and I think there's some similarities with Ugly and some other cartoons. I think because I came from this media, and yes, there's some
Any
inspiration.
cartoons in specific? I was kind of getting Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I was early 2000s
Mm.
Cartoon Network kid, so I was kind of, maybe it was just the size of the character and like the shape of his head reminded me of Billy, but
Yes, no, for me, I say that not specifically, but could be. It's one of those one of those series that I enjoyed, or yes, Gravity Falls, or I don't know, like
okay.
some other. Yeah.
Okay. On the so on the programming side, I mean, the mechanic of, having your reflection going into all these different places, you essentially have the two characters on the map at any given point. Were there any like issues or any messes to clean up to where, players could get into these places that they shouldn't be able to, or were there any programming things that like the idea kind of like made a little more work for you on that end?
I'd say not because of the mechanic per se, but because we were continuously exploring this mechanic, so we were kind of adding layers to it. So we have the basic mechanic. It's just the reflection. The player can move, and the reflection moves accordingly. But now we have this painting in the wall, or now we have this other thing that interacts with the reflection. Now we have these little layers that are coming time to time. So we were having to adapt the system as it was to fit in the new the new mini mechanic that was adding to it. So it was a bit of a challenge to program it in a really modular way, so anything that was added to it was not affecting the other systems. And we, even with that in mind, new things were coming in and messing everything around, so we had to tweak things here and there to just make it fit in. But for the game itself, on my end, I think the most challenging part was to do all the backend system, which is something that it seems easy, but it's not really. All the control remappings, all the safe systems for the different platforms, all these kind of things. The languages, having different fonts for different languages, Russian or the Japanese, Chinese, and Korean languages. This was a challenge too. That I have never been face to face with this kind of issues before.
Awesome. Um, the bosses, from another programming standpoint, did those present any programming challenges for you? And also, I'll make this a two-parter. I really liked, and spoilers for anyone, we'll mark that in the show notes. But I really liked how each boss kind of played into the themes later on, after the big reveal. Was that like an aha moment, or was that something that you guys knew like, oh no, that's for sure what we want?
That was the intention from the beginning. I mean, it's like a basic game design thing to do when you finish like a level, have a boss that challenge the player from the mechanics from that level. So this was the main idea for all of these bosses, but we also wanted to fit them in narratively. So we've been working a lot on how to fit both these things together in the game, so the bosses feel you know cohesive and coherent to the world and where they are and in the rooms they are and how they attack the player. Even the powers are not just because the powers are because this boss has this relationship with the character itself, and etc etc. um Actually, I'm gonna tell you a little secret here. All the bosses except from one are mostly the same uh, in the programming side, so that they have the same systems in the backend, and we're just adding like a layer on how they attack, on how they the bullets or the things that they spawn there. So it was a challenge at the beginning to think the bigger system that could fit all of them.
Mhm.
But then it was just changing the state machines to have these different states and have this different everything for each boss, and that's it. So it could meet the game design needs that were
I've
being
got a
handled
theory on
here.
which one I think was different, but I'll maybe the crystal boss. I'm a few weeks removed from the last time I played, but I'm thinking it's that one. Am I
No,
right?
it was the Moodman, we call it the Moodman, the second boss, the from
Oh,
the Paint
the
World.
paint, the
Yeah,
Pepto Bismol guy.
yeah. This boss didn't really have a state machine. It was just a sequence of uh, objects that were appearing in
Mhm.
the scene. So this was a completely different thing. But
Well,
for all the other bosses, it was the same system for all of them.
well, I will say the bosses are probably one of my favorite pieces because I mean the amount of times I'm playing like a Metroid game and they're like, "All right, you're fighting this bug." I'm like, "Well, why am I fighting this bug?" And so for narratively for you guys to like go back and have each one have that purpose, I fell in love with that instantly. Speaking of learning new mechanics, learning new things in the game, I think it's around the third area or fourth area you learn the mirror jump, if I'm remembering
Mhm.
correctly. And once I unlocked that, and it's funny because I'm assuming before you unlock it in that area, you can basically just do it wherever you wanted. Was that another intention where you were like, well, we don't want you to discover this too early, but once you discover it, you basically have your way of getting around this labyrinth of a mansion. Uh, yeah, was that something that you were like, oh, I hope they don't discover this too early?
I The game is a proof of people who discovers this mechanic earlier. So yes, it's I think it's something that this mechanic is especially it's very different because it feels rewarding for the player. It's like some kind of an upgrade for the player because they can like navigate the scenario now in a different way, like quicker, higher. No, it's not just a way to solve puzzles, but you can like move easier on the environment. And yes, we don't want to like make the people who doesn't arrive to this level, to if they discover the mechanic they can use it even on the previous puzzles. So a majority of the puzzles are like made that in a way that you can't like beat the puzzle with this mechanic, but some of them yes. And it's a bit of it's like a reward for the players who discover this mechanic early.
Sorry, I was just thinking about the Pepto Bismol guy. Um, So another thing that Ugly does really well, which I think Braid did poorly, not to poo-poo on them, but so you finished an area in Braid and then it would give you like 5 or 6 books to read about Tim and what was going on in his life. You guys instead have these children's drawings that depict these terrible, awful things that are happening. I don't think there's a spoken word in the game until the very, very, very end, if I'm remembering correctly. Um, who who did Gerard? Was that you on those drawings?
No, Jaime was who was doing these draws, and also building this story. And we all together we decide more or less what's the thing that happens, and on the whole story, but Jaime decide what things, when, in what room, like they compose all this narrative. And I think it's like very like hard to handle sometimes because it's like this so disgusting thing, some of the things that happen, but it's one of the things that so many people like the most. You say that you love the bosses. Some other people is the thing that they like less. So it depends of people. But I think the story, uh, uh, all the people likes it because even if it's like so dark and so disgusting sometimes, but it's like I don't know, it hit you in the face very strong.
It very yeah, because you're in this colorful world, and like there's a hint of like darkness to the world, but then once you start finding those twisted drawings, you're like, oh, this place is really messed up. Were there any drawings that crossed the line and it was like, we've already done this thing over here. We really can't have him running over his grandmother with a car or a horse.
I don't know if something like this happened with the memories, with these narrative events, but we did have some opinions on some of the backgrounds that we had to change to fit the the 18 plus ratio, adult content and mature content, this kind of things. We had to tone some things down a bit just to fit in some of them. But that's the only thing I can recall. I don't know if we had any problems with anything else with that.
That's interesting. Was that something maybe like a bloody knife in the background or like some kind of
No, this can, as always, like violence is not the problem. The problem is nudity, and we
nudity?
had
Okay.
some nudity draws in some parts that we just changed because it doesn't matter. The intention is there, and for the experience is exactly the same. So violence, no problem. Nudity, yes, but okay, we can just I don't know. We adapt it.
Here in America, we can do some good old violence, but if there's any kind of nudity,
Exactly.
it's not happening. Not here, friend. Not here, buddy. That's interesting. So, and it sounds like with all the pink paint running around, you guys had obviously an easy fix for something like that. Just slosh it in the pink paint, and the problem goes away. Back on the mechanics, real quick. Did either of you have a favorite mechanic throughout development? Be it the pink walls keeping you from transporting, or the mirror jump that we mentioned earlier?
I just love the broken glasses. It just having the ability to just offset your reflection, it gets the puzzles to just another level.
It really, yeah, those really got my brain going. Like
yeah.
they were, because I think there's one in that big main hall where like you're trying to get underneath where you're at, and you have to like kind of bump a wall and then go back and then jump, and it's
you have to just reverse and inverse your
just
thinking again and again. It's
the number of times where I had accidentally hit the mirror button while doing that and had to like completely restart. Just the worst. I got so mad. The music is also very. It's got a. Let me choose my words. It's got like a fairy tale vibe to it, which I know you guys were leaning into that very much. Music wise, were there any influences on any other influences or any specific influences, like maybe like a Hansel and Gretel type situation, or?
I can't really tell. I was in contact directly with the music team, but Jan Fite was the music composer and the
Right.
sound, more or less, director in our team, and he was responsible for all of it. He had been working with us before even we started the production of the game, so he knew the game from the demo, and he just he was with the team, and he knew the story from the beginning, so he completely understood what we were trying to achieve, what we were trying to tell. And I don't know what inspirations did he have, but he just used that knowledge to to build the sound that would enrich this experience.
So you guys have done it. You guys co-founded Team Ugly. Your game is out. What was the it sounds like it was a very long process. I mean, this has been an idea in your head going 10 plus years now. What was the hardest part of getting this all together, getting everything to line up and, get a game? You released a game, like that's no one can ever take that away. But what was the hardest part on that path to getting to 1.0?
I think the hardest part is I don't. It's a very difficult question, but I think getting the money is getting the money enough to do a project like this. Like it's the difficult part, but obviously you can do it if you don't have a very good production plan, and if you don't have a very good vertical slice to sell your product. And I don't know. I think it's a chain of things, but the step where we like were more confused about what is going to happen was on the when we are searching for a publisher investor to put money to make the project, because after this you just need to work, and if you like what you do and you are and you are surrounded with talented people, you can do it. It's just working, but getting the money is something that not always depends on your side. And it's like how the market works, on the publishers are doing. This is the hardest part, I think. I don't know if Frank is agree with me.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I wanted to add that it's not only difficult because of the process of doing it, but also because of the way you have to think about your game, which is completely different, completely new, and it's not something that everyone likes, which is thinking your game about being a product that someone would buy. And so you have to go through all these, marketing bids and doing the papers and do the market analysis and do everything that, as a game developer, it's not something that fits with your profile. We are artists, we are programmers, we are not marketing guys. So it's just starting to understanding the game in this concept. It's something that, for me at least, it was a change in mentality. Like,
It sounds like publisher money is getting harder and harder to come by now. Are there any lessons from the development of Ugly that you guys will be taking into that next game, where you're like, oh, we should be doing this sooner, or oh, like, let's not mess with this thing over here? Is there anything that you're like, yep, that's next project Ugly 2, the sequel, this is what we're doing to expedite this process?
I don't know. This was my first project, so I learned so much. Like, I can only say one thing. I learned in all of the fields of game of game design and art and a lot of stuff. But I'm very happy of how the ugly experience of the productions and pre-productions was. And I don't know. I just want to, for if next game can happen in the future, I just want to repeat, like maybe doing better, quicker. I don't know if cheaper. I don't know, but I think I'm very like glad and happy of how we all the team work on Ugly. Yes.
I think we were really lucky to have Rita on our team. It was the producer, and she really did a good job on getting all the tasks done and prepared, and also the team that we put together. We were 11 people. Every one of them was really into the game and was sharing all the love that we had for it, and it was really good to work with a team like that was caring about the project so much. And I think both of these things, which is just a lucky thing, we have this really good person on your team and have a team that is all of us, all of them were really good, talented professionals. yeah, this was that what made the project to go smoothly, and we didn't have like major roadblocks or any bad situations in that regard.
So did you guys see, because I'm not sure when Graffiti Games came on as publisher, but were there any major changes development wise for you, or workflow wise when the publisher came on? I'm sure you guys had benchmarks you had to meet for them. Any major differences between not having the publisher and then having the publisher?
Mm, I don't know. Yeah.
I also don't want to get anybody in trouble, so I understand if
No.
I mean, I came in the team just right before we found this publisher, so I could not tell. But I guess it's just everything. I mean, you start working like with you can dedicate to it your whole day. You're working on it. Before that, you're just using your free time to keep going and complete some tasks when you can, and it's a completely different workflow when you're there for it than when you're not.
Yes, before like signing with the publisher, it's just a question mark there, and you never know what's gonna happen in the future. So probably, or sure, in this case, like people were working on other stuff, and with the free time, we are working on Ugly, but you never know. After signing with Graffiti, is what Frank says now. Is our job, is our project as well. It's not just a job; it's our passion as well. But it's a job. Yeah, full time. Let's work full time on this, and let's just like doing the milestones on time and all this. But after this, were so much easier. And Graffiti let us like do the game that we want to do. So no problem with that, except for this like tiny rating stuff. But just the other, like,
were there any, so you guys had issues, not a big issue with the rating system, but one that you had to work through. Were there any issues with getting on Steam or getting onto any other platform for you guys?
Not really. It was just I think at the beginning we were trying to target our game for 16 plus audience, and at the end we had this 18 plus rating. But it was just a matter of what content we had in the game, and we knew for sure that we want this content to be there because that's the story, that's what we are trying to tell. Yeah, it involves some violence, it involves some nudity depictions, it involves some issues that affect on this. But it was not that it was a problem, it was just a surprise that we could not fit in the 16. But yeah.
So speaking of surprises, and again, spoilers for anyone who hasn't beaten the game, get out of here. Why are you listening to this right now? So the game continues after you beat it, and there are some secret levels. I really enjoyed it. I know that one was very frustrating for me, but that's because I'm hard-headed. It's the little room where you have the climbing, and your little reflection is like going through a maze, and it can't touch the wall, or else it resets you back. Uh, Again, was that something you guys always wanted to do? Did you want to have those secret levels that upped the challenge? That reminded me of Meat Boy, but Super Meat Boy, by the way. Um, was that was these planned to always have secret levels and have that secret ending at the end?
yes, we plan these secret rooms, and we want to make the game like enough difficult for people who enjoy this like the hard experience, but not as much like if this makes that some people just abandon the game. So we decide to put all these very hard levels on the future. Another side that we decide this is because if we put these secret levels like for the entrance free for the player who doesn't beat the game yet, um, this this some people can enjoy this, but at the same time maybe you feel the necessity to checking all the time the surroundings of the room if there's a secret there. So we decide to put them on the final with this tiny hint about where this secret room is, and not during the gameplay, because it's so easy for like a competitionist player. I don't know if I'm saying right. You are okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
To stay all the time like checking all around the room if there's a secret room there. So we decide to put it apart, and it's like for the players who want more, just like more gameplay. There's these secret rooms that are harder, but after the credits, so the people who will see the credits and get like satisfied, so it's totally okay.
Completionist, you got me pegged. I'd reached the end and I hadn't found one of the chalk drawings, and the game was still fairly new, so there wasn't a lot on YouTube, weren't a lot of like guides on YouTube and everything. So I'm like, where I'm driving myself crazy. I never comment on YouTube videos, but I found one of the videos. I was like, hey, does anyone know where to find this? And then I just so happened to be screwing around in the main area. It was the painting outside of the church. I didn't realize you could go that far off the map with the little graveyard there. And yeah, so you've got me pegged. Frank, did you want to say something? Sorry, I jumped in there.
I think I was, but I can't remember now.
It's okay. It's okay. I do have a follow-up question. So there's a secret room in the main area. I think it's the piano room that's like in the attic. And there's really like not much going on there. It's just kind of a nice little like flavor text area where like you get a little more piece of the world. And was there a lot of like, did you have to have some restraint in designing the world? Because if it were me, I'd be putting secrets all over the place. I'd be like, okay, put something over here where they have to do this really tricky jump to get into this area. Did you guys have like, was there a temptation to do something like that the entire way through, or were you like, no, we can't, they have this, they have to be happy with this?
Yes, the temptation was there, and I don't know. There are a lot of things that I want to add to Ugly, but like we had money for, but what we did, and we can get distracted like trying to put other stuff that obviously will be like so cool if these things were there, but but no, it's impossible. So at some point you have to say, okay, stop. This is enough, not more.
Or cut off, no more secret
on my
rooms?
end, being outside of the art pipeline, I feel like kind of can appreciate all the art direction and all the backgrounds in a different way. And I feel that we have plenty of secrets in the background, but they are just there. It's for the player to stop and look at them and trying to figure out what because everything in the background is there for a reason. It's not, let's put some books in here and a table there, and no, this table had a function in this room, and these books are there because I don't know, someone was reading them for that other thing that was happening in the other room. So I feel that this is kind of the storytelling that we have in our game, and it's kind of hidden in plain sight. If you take your time to stop and look on the backgrounds and try to figure out what's the story and what happened there, you can from the backgrounds, but you can just go for the puzzles and play the game, go around and just complete the game, and you have more or less a basic idea on what the story is about, but not the full picture of it, just because you didn't stop and look at those things.
Yeah, and I want to commend you guys because it is amazing that you guys tell a full story and not a word is spoken until the very end, and not a line of text. I think the one line of text is someone wrote "ugly" on the globe or something like that.
Mhm.
Like you tell a full story in this world, and you didn't even have to say a word. It's it still blows my mind when I think about it. And I want to commend you guys for that because that's amazing. So you reach the end of Ugly. You guys are done developing it. It's out in the world. You're obviously still out there pushing it on your marketing run. It's awards season, so you guys are out and about doing stuff for that. Are you guys playing any video games? Are you looking around? Because I know this came out around the time Baldur's Gate was eating up a lot of attention. So were you guys dabbling in that, or where are you guys at gaming wise?
Frank.
Okay, I start. I don't want to say that 2 days ago I started playing League of Legends again.
Oh
I do
no,
not want to
Frank,
say it.
Frank, no.
we lost it.
Yeah. No, I don't know. It's been quite hard to find something, because before this project I was a student, so I had so much time to play these big games, Skyrim and Guild Wars and this kind of MMORPGs, which strategy games like Total War, these time eating games that I like. So working in Ugly has like eaten a lot of this time, and it's been, I'm working in a game, so I kind of feel like my preference have changed to smaller experiences with maybe more simplistic mechanics, but these kind of things. I played Slay the Spire recently, and yeah, I tried to play Baldur's Gate, but I didn't pass like I passed the tutorial on the first area where there are druids and everything else, but I just didn't have time to play it as it's worth to play. Spending hours there and enjoying it as it should be. So I'm trying to find the time to do it.
You almost can't have a day job for that one.
Yeah.
I mean, the character creator alone, you're in there for hours. What about you, Gerard?
Gerard? Yeah.
Me, I was as always like playing tiny games as well. Like I played recently Cocoon, that is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I played the Justin, the ones that is the guy
climber?
climbing. Like,
I was just
so
playing that
cool.
last night. I love
Yeah,
that.
so cool, so relaxing. I love it. And I don't know. And I usually play Rocket League.
See, I got off of
It's
Rocket League. It was
yeah,
one of those things that was eating up a lot of time. Are you?
yes,
How are your aerials, Gerard? How are your aerials?
not so bad, not so bad. But I don't know. In YouTube, there are people so crazy, but so then maybe so bad.
Are
You
you?
you usually play Rocket League as well?
I used to. My go-to. I'm not ashamed of it, but my go-to game right now has been Fortnite, just because I have a good
Uh huh.
good little squad that I like to play with on the
Uh huh.
regular, and they're just always updating stuff. Actually, I just opened up the game last night for the first time in a week, and it gave me a bunch of Rocket League stuff. So I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, Epic, I get it. You want me to go play Rocket League, so I was thinking about it the other day. Are you a doubles guy in Rocket League, a trio, or do you like to go in
No,
solo?
threes. I like
Threes.
threes. Yes,
Okay.
yes. And it's so curious or Rocket League because I'm not I don't like competition but Rocket League like hits me so strong, and I think it's a very underrated game. And it's like out of the radar of so many people that don't think that this game is so good just because it's about cars and soccer. And I think I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's too much, but I think Rocket League is kind of for me. It's like more similar to uh, Super Mario than FIFA, for example.
Eh,
That's the phrase. That's the phrase.
It's kind of crazy to me because I mean we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of Rocket League,
Mhm.
and they're on the like there's this it's this weird section of indie game development where they had that deal with Sony. They were that free what were they, like the Sony PlayStation Plus or whatever it was game for a month, and that kind of just took them off, and now like no, they're no longer independent. But it's just kind of crazy seeing that because I don't think that's something we'll ever see again. Now we've got things like Game Pass. We've got services like that are like bringing in these indies. Have you guys thought about anything like Game Pass or anything like that? Again, I'm not privy to how any of those deals work out. And that might be something more on the graffiti studio side than you guys. But have there been conversations like that about just new places to put ugly where people can access it?
Frank?
I don't know.
That's okay.
I
That's
think
okay.
we talked about it. We had some considerations regarding Game Pass, but I don't think if Graffiti has a plan on maybe in the future have Ugly appear on Game Pass or I don't really know. It's
Okay.
on their end.
As a developer, it's like so interesting. Like as an artist, I want, no, we want our game is being played for as many people as it could be, and I don't know, for me the idea is amazing. Then there's the commercial side that we don't know exactly if it's worth or not. This depends maybe of the deal that you can do with Microsoft in this case. But I want the people to play ugly, so the idea is interesting. Yeah.
So we're getting close. We're getting close to time here, but I just wanted to ask you guys one last question. Is there anything else you guys want to say about ugly, or just the process of building ugly, or anything that we haven't covered today? I know we covered a lot in the last 50 minutes, but just wanted to see if there was anything else that you wanted to say about ugly. A beautiful game, guys.
I don't know. I don't know. No, that if someone is listening us, just if they are interested in a game crafted with so much love and a bit of pain as well, so I think they can find in Ugly a good game to spend some hours.
What about you, Frank?
Um, that's good. It's getting me as a surprise. I don't know. Maybe I tell, getting back to the beginning of the conversation, for any new developers that are trying their ideas or trying to build their first game, encourage them to think about their game as a product from the beginning, since it will be much easier later to find the finance that they need or find any publisher, so they can have that covered, and yeah, it will run everything smoother.
Well, thanks, guys. Ugly is on Steam. Is it also on PlayStation at this time as well?
No, is it on Xbox and Nintendo Switch and itch.io as well?
Of course, I named the one place it wasn't available.
Exactly.
Totally.
Of course.
There are some people asking for a PlayStation port, and for the moment there are no news for that. But if they really want, if they want to push Graffiti or PlayStation for it, it's I don't know, it's something possible in the future.
You heard Gerard. Get on those Twitters and be adding at them, guys. Okay, so let me rephrase that. It's on Steam, Xbox, itch.io, and Switch. Not on PlayStation.
Yes, it will soon release also on mobiles. I think both
yeah.
Android and iOS.
Oh.
I don't know the exact dates, but it will be the first quarter of next year, I think.
Oh,
Yes,
that'll be interesting. I'll
Yeah.
I'll have to pull out the touchscreen. I'm gonna play it on touchscreen. I'm not gonna connect a controller to it. I'm gonna get super frustrated with myself, but I'm gonna do it. If people want to keep up with you guys or keep up with Team Ugly, where can the people find you guys?
They can find us on Discord, in our Discord. That is called Ugly, I think. I don't know. It's Ugly. Team Ugly Games is Team Ugly Games. And we are on Twitter as well. I think with the same name. Oh, sorry, I'm a disaster with social media.
No, you're good. I thought your game was on PlayStation. It's
Yes,
funny because
Team Ugly Games on both.
Googling Team Ugly Games is probably the best way to do it, because if you Google ugly game, you just get a bunch of Reddit posts about games that look ugly. So Google Team Ugly. So here, just to recap, you guys are on Steam, Xbox, Switch, on itch.io. Will be on mobile soon, and people can stay caught up with you guys on your Discord, on I guess it's called X now, at Team Ugly. Guys, thank you again so much for coming onto the show. We really appreciate you being here. Congratulations on the release. It's a great game. More people need to play it. It's amazing. Congrats again on the Saga Awards for visual art direction, gameplay, and best game. That's awesome, you guys. And again, I really do hope more people play this. Someone should send a copy to Jonathan Blow and tell him to play it or something. I don't know. Guys, thanks again, and hope you guys have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thanks to you. And thanks for inviting us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the people who is listening. Yeah, I'm very happy to stay here.
Thanks, guys.